But yeah, the next thing that I asked you to discuss with me was pre-training food and drink, and adding in coffee as well. So what kind of things are we doing before training to give us that little bit of a pep? Coffee, yeah. Is coffee good? Is there other things that we should be thinking about?
So pre-session. So first of all, being prepared for whatever training we're going to do. So I'll use this club as an example. All our training, apart from obviously Saturday, is done in the evening. So majority of people have been to work in the daytime. So they've done something physical, done something cognitive, like doing something like someone who's got a highly cognitive job that takes a lot of energy. A lot of prep. So people are generally going to be coming quite tired. So training starts at 6:30. I think my first go-to thing is to make sure that I would be hydrated, especially key. And in the summer months, I think being hydrated pre-session is really, really important. And it's something I've noticed, slight sidetrack, I've noticed in post-session. So the day after I do my sessions, I'll weigh in. I've generally lost about 1.5 kilogram, but that's all water. I'm severely dehydrated after that. So I think being hydrated is key. Coffee is a good stimulant for making you alert. It's got endurance qualities, and you'll see a lot of endurance. People that have gels. A lot of them are caffeinated gels, and it helps that alertness as well. So that'll be the next one I'm coming into. And then if you look at the sort of pre-workouts, the stuff that you can see on the shelf, they're a concoction of multiple things. For example, like you'll have caffeine in there, beta-alanine, branched chain amino acids. But there's not a lot of evidence to support that they're great. For example, the beta-alanine, is, when people take a pre-workout, you get that tingling effect. That's the cause of that. Just so you'll know, if one's got high in that, is you get quite a lot of tingling. Again, it's just more to do with alertness. So for pre-session, what I would encourage, think about that model. Train, eat to live, eat to train. And that eat to train model there, I'm starting to think about what I refer to as periodizing my nutrition. So you've heard of periodized training. So that's just like a planned structure of your training throughout a period. You could do the same with your nutrition. So if you're training Tuesday, Thursday, is probably the two biggest classes that you have. I'll class those as my red days. So then red days, I need to have the day before a good amount of sort of carbohydrates in, because I need carbohydrates to do the session. So,
and you sorry to interrupt. You can't stock up that on a day. So you're saying the day before?
You can, but you'll be better suited just the day before, so you can digest it, process it. So especially if you're stocking up on a day, maybe thinking more of those quicker releasing type of carbohydrates. Right. So if you've got to do the day before, from the endurance world, I used to you do like your carb load as such. You say to it like a few days before your race, start getting your carbs in there, so it's readily stored to use on there. And I've definitely fell foul of not doing that as well on races. So I'd start thinking about, got my Tuesday, Thursday, they're my red sessions. So the difficult one with that is that Wednesday, because you want to be like recovering, maybe like protein. So that's where we talk about supplementation, like your recovery drinks are generally like carbohydrates and protein mix, normally like 3/4 carbohydrates, one quarter protein. That would be probably good to have in them days there, so you want the recovery, but you need the carbohydrates ready for that next session as well. So I would be thinking a little bit longer start, and that's one of the overriding things of nutrition, and it definitely stems into the psychological world of like behavioural change. You start taking ownership and organisation of the people who do it really well, bodybuilders. They do their nutrition excellently, meticulous. They prep all their meals. You could probably argue over the top, but that's their sport and that's what they want to do, and they need to do that. They plan it. They'll plan their week. They'll probably have a Sunday meal prep day. They'll prep all their food, and they'll know on whatever day, maybe like a quite high intensive day, the day before they've got a high amount of carbohydrates there to do it. Obviously, it'd be different when they're cutting and stuff like that, but the bottom line is they're really organised, really prepared on what they're going to do. So going back to the question, pre-session, the first thing I'll be thinking of, am I hydrated? Have I got enough water in my body? Have I throughout the day just gradually just drank water throughout the day, or am I just drinking a bottle 5 minutes before I come in? Throughout the day, far better, not directly before it. The next one I'm thinking of, have I got enough energy in me, energy in the form of carbohydrates? Obviously, you're going to eat in a day because we train in the evening. So the day before, did I have a good balanced diet, good carbohydrates ready for my session? And that's some people that come on the Tuesday and Thursday, for example, to really perform. I can think of a few people in mind who I can see they're diligent in what they do and they really want to perform and get better. Some, if you're coming at this is just like your exercise, your release, and that's absolutely fine. You may be in that sort of eat to live type phase. You may not need to focus on periodizing your nutrition, but periodizing your nutrition really helps organize and helps. Do you what I mean? When you turn up to your training, you want to, like we said before with the fast food, it's like the knock-on effect of the training. So if you ate poorly on the Monday, what's the knock-on effect to your high intensity training that you're going to do on the Tuesday, where you want to try and perform your best? Then if you're not training as well as you can, you're not going to develop as well as you can. So you start just being in that sort of middle ground. Yeah. So start optimize your nutrition for when you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just touched on then about hydrating.
Yeah.
So what about the salts and electrolytes that you should be getting in your water?
Yeah.
Are we just drinking tap water? And because I'll be honest, that's what I've always done. So
yeah.
for me, hydration for me is just drinking water out of a tap or whatever, and that's it. But I know, again, a lot of people are pushing, and whether or not that's from a sales point of view, you should be having this, that, and whatever else in it.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about like salt in water and
Yeah, so this is a very individualized approach now. And so no doubt you've trained with people who like are big sweaters, but like really salty sweaters. So you can see like white marks maybe on the clothes and stuff like that, really salt. So I've seen this a lot as triathletes, and I've seen actually the real negative of this of when people have collapsed, and that's generally because they've lost a lot of electrolytes, lost a lot of sodium in their system, and we've got macronutrients, so our like carbohydrates, fats, proteins, but we've got our micronutrients, and there are like our minerals, our metals, and all that type. And that's what our sort of electrolytes and salts compromise of. And a small imbalance in those can have a dramatic consequence on like your performance. So it depends on the person how salty a sweater. Like for example, me, I'm not that salt. It's like fluid that comes out of me. It's not a lot of salt that comes out of me. I've raced in hot countries. I've not had really many issues with like pushing hard in a hot country. But I definitely know people who are fitter than me, were better athletes than me, who pushed hard but couldn't sustain it because they lost too many salts. So it's about this, refer to it as like homeostasis, keeping this balance right. If you lose too many of your salts, okay, your homeostasis is compromised. You're not in a neutral or a balance point, and something's going to be compromised, i.e. you collapse or you faint or what have you. So with regards to BJJ, I've not seen it being an issue, but I may be wrong with that. I would say just being hydrated with tap water is the primary type thing. Even though we sweat a lot in here, it's not like we're remote. We've got water to us access easily, but there may be a few people who would benefit from some electrolytes, and that would come in form like as a tablet, into their water. There's no calories in there. And I've actually, a bit of a side story. I remember doing a ride in Mallorca with someone, and they were quite a novice rider, was doing a big ride, about 100 miles or something, and referred to the term as being bonked, so I just lose energy. So I was riding next to him, he was like just about sitting on his bike, and I was asking him, what have you had today? Because I've had these electrolytes. Yeah, what about carbohydrates? No, I thought there's energy. I thought it was like calories. No, there's 0 calorie. So he'd done this, it was about like 90 miles into this 100-mile ride on 0 calories. Right. So he just used all his reserves. He was just flat.
Just smashing Lucozades.
So he just needed to stop, just get some carbohydrates in, and then we just slowly just went home because he thought there was calories in there. Yeah. So the electrolytes are there to keep that balance. If you come here with an electrolyte tablet in your water bottle, is there a negative effect of that? No. Okay, it's absolutely fine to do that. Maybe some people really benefit from that. For most, you may not notice too much of a difference. But it's a requirement, so you just got to keep that balance. There is companies out there that do what's referred to as sweat testing, more in the endurance world. I've heard really good reviews of people using those. And what the reason they do that is they can, obviously it's a business, so think about that impartiality side of it. So they'll sweat test them, they'll identify how salty of a sweater you are. If you're someone who's highly sweating, they'll say this product is better for you because it's got a higher concentration of the electrolytes. If you're like a low sweater, you may just need this one just to just keep yourself ticking over. So and again, it goes back to that point. It's that individualization. People are so different. But observe it. Have a look when, especially in the summer months now. Have a look at those people that are sweating. You can see a solid sweat. You can see it on the skin. You can see like come on. It's like you got white lines.
I've never noticed it.
Have you never noticed it? Yeah.
But I mean, maybe now you've said it. But perhaps it's just something that I've never opened my mind to look for.
Yeah, it's definitely something to look at. And definitely, if you're someone when you're feel like you can't go hard, there's something holding you back, feel like you have like adverse effects to the heat and training, I'd definitely be saying go and get checked out by a doctor first, but is there an electrolyte imbalance going on there?
Okay. Is there a particular like pre-drink or something that you would have before training? Is there anything that you use?
No, me, I'm just water. I feel quite fortunate.
Okay.
I don't need water's absolutely fine for me. It's more so, for example, when I come over here a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and they're the days that I'm at uni, so cognitively heavy day. So I make sure around about 3 o'clock, 3:30, I'm getting some carbohydrates in the system. Yeah, that's what I'm probably just to give me some sort. Because your brain it requires carbohydrates to function basically. So that's how I'll be doing.
Okay, perfect. So that'll move us into recovering from training as well then.
Yeah.
But we can also tie that in with glutamine, creatine and protein.
Yeah.
And out of those three, should we be having any? Do we need to have them?